Welcome back, or welcome to the first time if you're just joining us for Valorant Challengers League North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Gompers and Dryad, and we have a banger coming up for you. We have Prosperity Esports versus... Oh, bye, Dan. See you later. It's okay.
She said that game was too long. That game was too long.
She's like, I gotta go. Like, let's get this started. Come on. Prosperity Esports versus non-verbal coming up. Gompers, because I can only throw to you. For those of us, I think we also talk about this in chat. Non-verbal, formerly known as Fun Hoppers, they are known as non-verbal now. Let's get that. Let's level the playing field right away. But we're gonna talk about Prosperity Esports right here. This is a team, I always say this about everyone, but especially with like Scary Shark 32 and everyone.
Yeah.
This is a team that I don't want anyone to sleep on. Gompers.
No, and absolutely not. I think their performance that we got to see from their last game, sorry. Also, for those of you who actually don't know, while I pull my notes up, they actually came through from relegation. So, I mean,
Yes.
not relegation, my apologies, from promotion to challenger stage. So this is a team that was able to kind of battle it out and make the dream that everyone has, you know, coming through, which is make it to challengers and have the opportunity to move forward. So I think, you know, again, dreams come through hard work and dedication. Prosperity, a team that had a decent showing against Winthrop University, right? So coming into this, and then Blue Otter as well, winning on Lotus, actually being their primary map of wins so far. But yeah, I mean, as it seems, I personally really like Prosperity. I think they've shown, you know, just a lot of resilience in terms of their gameplay for sure.
And if you have been watching Valorant Esports or even Game Changers, you should know the name Scary Shark. It's someone, if you watch the Game Changers broadcast, we have highlighted over and over and over again, and we're highlighting them here again because they are a force to be reckoned with, also known as Nora, but they're someone who is just in the server who just, quite frankly, gets it. Like, the way they play the game and the way they use their utility as a initiator is so brilliant, Gompers.
No, absolutely brilliant. Too with Scary Shark as well, actually a player that was pretty dominant within Game Changers as well. So it's really nice to see a familiar name just take up some space here and be the player that I'm really excited to see them be. I think they've been absolutely phenomenal and very, very comfortable so far within the challenger stage. Scary Shark in general is just really a menace on the site. So for them to be here and to really showcase what they have, it's very exciting.
And now we're moving on to Magic from Prosperity Esports. Dan, are you back? Did I just hear you come back?
Hi.
There you go, babe. How are you? And you're jumping right back into the fray. We're going to talk about Magic from Prosperity Esports. Right away, Dan, do you have anything that you would like the audience to keep an eye out for Magic for this upcoming match versus Nonverbal?
Yeah, I missed what you guys were talking about right at the beginning, but something that I wanted to add about Magic is that since the beginning of Split 1 for challenges, we've talked about these new up-and-coming duelists that we didn't really see in the last few years at all, and Magic is just one of them. We didn't even get the chance to see Magic coming into stage 1. They tried to qualify for the event, it doesn't really work their way, and now playing into this, it's one of those that we need to keep an eye on. A lot of the duelists that we talked about since the beginning, they were like, oh, we don't really know this name, we don't really recognize it from those known teams that we had last year. Magic is turning into one of them, and I love what he's able to do when it comes to the Waylay. They're trying to mix it up with Neon as well. There's a lot of duelists that he's able to play to a really good extent, and I think Nora or Scare Shark is a really good way to set it up, right? One of the players that is playing both in Challengers and Game Changers. So you have this combination of these two players that are up and coming, we've heard a little bit of, and you need to see more of, but so far the way that they're setting each other up for success is great.
And they'll be facing Nonverbal, formerly known as Fun Hoppers. We're going to call them Nonverbal, the NV that is just NV. And I saw some people like rooting for Tim in chat, Blast. Gompers, right away, this is a team that I think it not only is a fan favorite for just kind of their vibes and the way they are, but the way they play the game is just kind of tried and true, good old Valorant, as they say, Gompers.
I mean, yeah, good old Valorant, but hopefully today it's looking even better. Nonverbal definitely having it was a questionable run starting off this stage. I feel like they were looking really good. I believe it was earlier on within stage 1, correct? Yeah, stage 1. It was looking a lot better so far. 2 games lost. Of course, Shopify Rebellion Black being the first one is not the way that you want to go starting off. But yeah, for Nonverbal, I'd say coming back from bringing themselves back up from promotion relegation, they finally have that second chance. So I think they're definitely, cooking some certain stuff up, trying to build up that good synergy that they had. I wouldn't say necessarily been lacking, but more so just unfortunately, just trying to make that better.
This is a cool matchup too, because you're gonna have Corrupt go against their teammate in Nora's Carry Shark, where when they're playing Game Changers, they're playing together in the team of YFP. But right now, they're facing against each other in 2 different teams. And this is one of the cool things that we have right now coming into stage 2. You have a lot of those GC players that are able to play challengers as well and go into different teams, right? Initially on stage 1, we saw it only with Bob, but the cool thing is they're able to switch up these roles and play a little bit differently depending on what these challengers teams are requesting of them.
Now going right into Kumi on Nonverbal Gompers, we're talking kind of about those duelists that like maybe didn't get their chance to shine. Like we talk about the Sados, we talk about the Reduxes, etc. Kumi is someone we should bring up among the I'm saying so many times, sorry, among the conversation with these duelists, because Kumi can hang basically.
No, Kumi can hang, and Kumi's such a phenomenal duelist, and I'm really excited to see more so the presentation that they're going to be able to offer today. Again, I talked about the synergy and trying to bring that about. I think Kumi is not only super good mechanically by themselves, but as well as just being super hyper aware of their surroundings, and their op skill and gameplay is just absolutely insane. I definitely give this player a ton of kudos when it comes to being able to just handle all of the space that they're given, and also take away and manage it by themselves, right? 1v3, who cares? You know what? I'm just gonna go for it. And I mean, you get to see it here too. It's absolutely phenomenal how much space they can take up in such a short amount of time.
And today there will be a nice Magic Kumi matchup. This is the kind of the quintessential duelist matchup. And Gompers, you were just talking about it. These are teams that have fought their way back into this league, back into the Challengers League, making it, or into the league. This is, if you're going to prove yourself right now, Gompers, now is the time. And so I want you, for the audience, maybe can we highlight anything what they might expect from these 2 duelists? We talked about, last game, Sado is more of an individual duelist versus Chaotic, who was not. What can you highlight for Magic and Kumi?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say my name?
Yes.
Okay, Magic and Kumi. I guess in terms of the matchup, man, this is a hard one because I wouldn't necessarily say they're so different. I feel like they're both very, very aggressive and also confident in their own gameplay, which I love. I love to see duelists who aren't afraid to die. Like, that sounds so sad to say, but it's not. It's such a good thing to have, to be that confident, to understand that you're going to make impact no matter what and give that information forward. So I think for both of them, I mean, honestly, all I can say is maybe in terms of Kumi being a lot more radiant in terms of, and I guess more impactful in terms of the op skills that they tend to carry, and that's a little bit more worrying, and how much space they can take up there. But I guess they're both pretty phenomenal duelists.
Oh, Dan, we're moving to different maps already. It's been a lot of Ascent. It's been a lot of Split these past few days. We're moving into Icebox and Pearl right away. These are kind of large, the first 2 maps are large duelist playgrounds. So we're highlighting this Magic Kumi head-to-head, if you will. And it looks like the maps, Dan, they're gonna give that to us right away.
Absolutely, and we've yet to see this map of Icebox coming through for the set of Prosperity, but they've tried, both of the teams are CR and 2 right now. They're trying different things because you're kind of on the verge of not making it to playoffs if you continue having this kind of performance and losing against these important opponents. So now you're trying to switch it up, going to a map of Icebox. I think it's great. It keeps it simple. It keeps it, as you were saying, up to the duelist, a little bit more into the individual 1v1, so you're able to take and into those head-to-heads. I feel like it should be honestly a good back and forth between the 2. We talked about how much the team, the players on both sides, they know each other, and having that knowledge and going to a little bit of an unknown map for Prosperity, I think it's a good way to start it off.
And right away, Gompers, we have a Teo. We also have a Clove on the side of non-verbal, but we do have Magic and Kumi on the Jet. I was maybe thinking, maybe it's the Awele, maybe, something else, but this kind of seems like a tried and true duelist selection for them. But does anything else stand out to you, Gompers?
Yeah, I mean, first off, super excited to see Icebox in the mix. Definitely a map favorite of mine. I think it's really interesting to see how players can handle the diversities of this map. But no, I'm a bit afraid on Prosperity's side because this map isn't the best for them. There's definitely have been a lot of like trial and error in terms of learning, how to handle this map. It's the same composition, kind of some certain changes. Obviously, I think the last time they played Icebox, it was the Reyna making way, which is completely different. Very, very different duelist. I think the Jet is way better in terms of what we're pushing forward here. And the Teo actually making way as the, I believe, secondary initiator. So that's going to be really good. Double initiator, a single controller. I think this comp is honestly looking better in terms of refixing and reworking what that Icebox looked like before, for sure.
Well, folks, we're trying something new. I'm going to send over to our casters where they have differing opinions on the predictions. We have one person thinking Prosperity Esports is going to win and one person thinking non-verbal is going to win, but I'm going to let them discuss that. It is Lemon Kiwi and Nerds on the call.
Nerds, defend yourself. If Liz is going to put you on the spot, I stand by that. What's up? What's up?
I have to say, I have a lot of respect for both teams. But I picked Prosperity for two reasons. One, I watched them play yesterday. They had a lot of really good moments of brilliance. And two, I was watching with people who are friends with Prosperity. So low-key peer pressure one there. But I do want to give them shout outs because when I did watch them yesterday, I saw them do a lot of things right. It feels like a very coin flippy match. And when I saw, I'm coming in here, like I was just kind of asked to slot in here. I was like, I'm going to go for my team of Prosperity, give them a little bit of hope. But I do really think it is very much a coin flip. Now that I've defended myself, why'd you pick non-verbal?
Better team. I don't know. Vibes.
I'm a sheep. That's crazy.
I saw everyone else vote for them, and I said, "Me too, girl. Me too."
No way. All right. Fair enough, though.
Bandwagon or bias caster? Chat, pick who has the worst opinion. When we we'll see if non-verbal can prove us right or wrong, depending on what side of the coin you are on. You got the double smokes too with the Clove. You don't get to see that every day, and that's the big compositional difference between the Clove and the Teo.
I think that the compositional change is good. I personally prefer Clove, ironically enough, in this case, because if you have solo smokes on Viper, it's a little difficult in some exec situations. Like this walk up towards B is going to be stalled out, but you don't really have as much. Now, you can argue A site's a little bit more open for the take and B's where it really matters, but Clove providing that extra cover really helps them a lot. Also, just love Clove. So more biased for me.
Yeah, I was watching like VCT EMEA today, and they're like, "Oh, is it a red flag if someone says they can play a controller and a Clove comes out?" We'll see. Tim, is Tim a red flag or not? And so far, non-verbal are down 2. It's not looking good. The Spike's been playing but for really how long? And especially when Corrupt can't operate the pit or the wall right now, it's Prosperity. They're just trying to find these last couple of targets. They do have a smoke cutting them off, and now that it's open, non-verbal have a chance to scrap. It's just Prosperity having really good teamwork out the gates.
I don't know. Some people have been calling it bias. It's too early to say. It's too early to say. Good retake coming out of Prosperity, right? They managed to walk up in. I can see the composition working. I understand why you have Scary Shark. Nora is on the Teo. She's always been really good on that initiator role, along with just a very well-coordinated retake. Now, we did see a lot of good stall out of Clove just to give that hype, just to give that, I do want to give some backup to why I like Clove, but at the same time, when you just have raw aggression coming out of Prosperity where they're just like, we're going to go in for it, obviously coordinated, but we're just going to go in and take fights, you tend to win when you have the brawl comp.
Just trying to be self-sufficient as best as you can, but I guess the bullets will just circle around him. Thankfully, Prosperity are always stacked together, so if someone kind of fumbles their shot, there's someone to clean it up. And Prosperity just get to dial things back. They have the man advantage. play off the wall, play off the Magic sideline with the Outlaw. Non-verbal are gonna peek this. You have to just re-clear, especially after Prosperity playing just all up in their face so early.
Now, I mean, does non-verbal try to get up and active into it? I mean, Kumi did buy up into a Marshall, so the long-range engagement should go for them. But Magic, again, those shields really help them in this moment. And I think for Prosperity, they're very comfortable leaving this for a retake because they've already shown they can retake B. They have the Brawl composition to exec. They don't need to worry about it as much.
Now just Prosperity giving up the site here. Still having three extra people. You would think it's fine. But if non-verbal are going to extend solo into the clutches of Prosperity, this will be an easier round than Prosperity thought. At least Corrupt is on a cool angle, using the wall to just isolate a 1v1 against the retakers of Prosperity. But it's just Corrupt now, and no fuel and no life remaining. Prosperity looking clean.
Again, it's just a slow burn on a walk-up. Less brawly in this sense and more of just like, we are going to smoke and surround and snuff you guys out. And honestly, it's a really good showing out of them. For non-verbal, though, Kumi buying up is going to mean that they are going to be on light shields, and that Outlaw is going to provide some value. Some other kind of keynotes are the fact that, okay, no, they went for a Guardian, actually, so it's not going to be fully light shields. But those keynotes really do matter because it starts to add up. Are we going to be seeing much of a change of pace? And it seems like that is the case. A little bit more of a spread default. I love mid control on this map. Another fellow caster of mine from Collegiate, always preaching about the mid lurks here. And I'm excited to see what they can do. Back off entirely. Just going to contest mid. Never mind. No mid lurk. Unlucky.
Gotta be careful of this left side of the map, though. Magic with the Outlaw has been scary before. I still think about that flick against Kumi over at A. I'm gonna have nightmares about that, and maybe about that whiff too. All good though. Ooh. Tim is, oh, it didn't even whiff. Just Tim is still alive at 10 HP. Pyro,
it's also
same
a double.
thing.
Yeah, it's also a double. So you're now just a flick away from death. They do have a little bit of advanced A control, so I like this spread out. It's the question of mid and the smoke, and they are going to try and end B.
Sniper wall's good. You have a window to try and plant into, but the wall won't last forever. Non-verbal also spreading themselves thin and scrapping through A, pulling Prosperity's attention. And non-verbal deciding to pivot after losing that member so early, but it's not going to be easy and not a lot of time for non-verbal to hold on to this. It's Prosperity hoping to shake things up. Scary Shark found in her hiding spot. Now things feel more secure for non-verbal.
Again, it's Prosperity on the slow walk up. The counter to it for non-verbal was this default play of their own. Now it's such low HP. You're going down.
Oh, Magic, scary. You know, non-verbal can surprise you. Corrupt left solo again. 1 versus 2. Fantic at the last crumb of HP. No, dodging the shot against Magic. Corrupt gets the win. With time running out, just having to protect the spike a little longer. And Vantic crossing the barrier, but crossing right in front of Corrupt. The first one for non-verbal.
And what a clutch, by the way, because that was so thin on the margins in a 1v1 scenario at 10 HP. Proves that non-verbal's here to play. I liked, like I said, that they spread out. Assumed they were going to go deeper into the B space, considering they were contesting it and leaving that A wraparound. But no, they do hit back towards A, and it creates a little bit of a kerfuffle, but not enough to stop the double, the double up here for Corrupt. And honestly, huge shout out to Corrupt and Nora. It's gonna be, I think that's an even more added element to it of like, since Corrupt is IGLing, you kind of like, they can kind of understand where Nora and how she's gonna be playing.
Yeah, and to still be current teammates now apart. Who's on the better team? That's what we gotta figure out, right?
No. Yeah, I guess we will.
About it later. And Corrupt can have to drop off the high ground after getting dinged by the Sonic from Yuki. Prosperity already had an early win in mid. We get to stack the site, feeling confident about their hold. But with the Armageddon causing chaos, non-verbal have to go toe for toe. And now, Blast and Kumi have the very back wall to worry about. hoping to address it together. Kumi stays safe for now. Manny looking for an angle. Blast. He just could not react in time. Was thinking there was a flank, but that was just a misread.
Yeah, and even more interestingly, Manny was holding up towards Rafters, so it felt like the gut call worked. They're even going to save the op. Really good to give Manny this ult charge because they're now going to be 3 off of it. Vantic on the other end of it doesn't necessarily need theirs until a little bit more, especially because they're playing so retake focused that Viper's Pit really could be used just to dissuade them from going to a site rather than necessarily retaking. And now Nonverbal also on an eco of their own. So all in all, we're seeing this really solid sort of slow walk up. The thing that really won Nonverbal the previous round was not only because it was better weapons in the moment, but also because they kind of went fast at it. They tried to capture that sort of, lightning in a bottle moment, but it didn't work. Also, W rep towards Apex. Been watching their games. If anyone is a Game Changers fan, check them out.
Fluorescent is the GOAT. We're hoping more women take up that mantle too, but Nonverbal right now are stuck on a sheriff round. And I'm just seeing also just better information from the Prosperity side of Yuki with these recons, the drones, just sussing out Verbal. And Verbal are conditioned to really worry about just the initial peak because Magic could have an op, could have an outlaw, and at least Nonverbal have some inkling towards that. But the owl drone revealing Nonverbal still nearby, just hanging out.
Again, right? They won a lot of these rounds based off of chaos. It's a little bit of it's an eco round, right? So it's like a do or die almost. Like, let's get chaotic, let's fight into them. And just, you can even see the way Prosperity's playing. They're surrounding the site for the retake. A has always been retake simulator, but it's been a lot slower. They don't want to go into the goop.
Oh, just that close smoke, sort of hidden spot from Nonverbal. This time they get to utilize it. But this op is going to be a threat. Nonverbal with the pit, a spike planted. Will deny any kind of fun sightline for this op. Hoping to just Teho drone within it, spot the players of Nonverbal. Magic has their own duel to worry about, but enough time for Nonverbal to try and unite one final time, and it's Corrupt left solo within the pit to defend this spike and trying to play dodgeball against bullets. It's not going to be a fun time, but wait, this wraparound could be gross. Weapons to pick up. Maybe Manny hearing this happen. A surprise Corrupt's pit not gonna last, but the spike now dwindling down, and this is enough time being bought by Corrupt. They just needed to prevent the full defuse. And what a clutch from Prosperity at the end.
1.28 seconds. They managed to bring it back. And it's you'd expect at some point that the slow play, the slow roll is gonna come back to bite you, and Prosperity is just like, no. If we're going to be gambling with time, we make sure that we have the whole kit and caboodle. And now it forces Nonverbal into a timeout. You got to have Corrupt, probably rethinking with their team, right? How are we going to be playing into this? You have really good ultimates. Tim probably going to get really aggro off of it. I need to deal with these retakes that we've been getting caught up in. Obviously, the previous round was not the best example, considering that it was an eco, but they invested an ultimate into it. They had a really good position out of the play that they ran into. Unfortunately, when it came down to it, when the brawl did start, because they didn't have weapons and because they just didn't feel that comfortable, it kind of fell into Prosperity's hands, who are now looking to just continue this streak over and over again. And I don't even want to call it a gamble or luck, because it really is off of them being cognizant of the retakes when they go for them. As well as just, I think it's really funny that, you're setting up Magic for success, swapping Scary Shark onto that operator, swapping it up through.
Speaking of obs, I thought maybe Kumi was going to try and invest in that again, because they tried to go band for band with Magic and couldn't. And there's got to be something that pressures this op, if not fighting fire with fire, something to deny that vision, which they tried with Viper's Pit. But at least Tim is allowed to play that aggressive, but now try to be back into the picture. Nonverbal. Followed the Kumi to dash in. I've been wanting to see this Jet take more space and put more pressure on the defense. And with this different Viper wall too from Corrupt, this seals off the re-entry from the left side, and Tim won't be allowed to keep playing as the ult expires. And the flank is being watched from Nonverbal too. This is looking like a good round. It all depends on how the retake goes. And now Pyro, of all people, has an op. Prosperity, I don't think they're gonna have much luck getting back into this, especially with a late lockdown invested from Nonverbal.
It's pretty locked down for them. It's a matter of timing. Not to mention the fact that Magic, I think, might have had some issues there, stuck on the site. You're gonna hold for it?
Okay, good ping on the spike there, just in case. That was a little scary. I was like, hopefully they didn't fully leave there.
Stuff. Just something to note. You know, Magic was out on the site, kind of standing there, no weapon out. Okay, so they are back. I was worried if that was a tech issue or if something happened. They're just caught off guard is all that happened. And now they are forced down to a potential full buy. I mean, yeah, they're not going to have that money. They buy up. Vantic's going to be the one to take that off. Bladestorm's going to be popped here. I wanted to see Nonverbal potentially go for some sort of, you know, slower play, maybe spread out a bit more and get info. But it seems like speed is the name of the game, and both teams want to control that tempo.
Nonverbal have conditioned Prosperity to just favor the A side so much that maybe a quick push to B could favor them, but of course you're just trying to get sightlines and look for picks, and punishing Magic is pretty huge. And that lurk's going to activate. That's going to give confidence to Nonverbal to maybe try this A side again, because without Magic, that was a huge source of firepower from Prosperity's defense.
And now you have to back out. Scary Shark Nora's being pressured, and at this point, they're just doing a little chunks of damage, right? She's not able to really connect onto anything, and you need to back out and have this slow roll. But slow rolls with, you know, a weak deck of cards is not going to be helpful.
You're not going to have the same Corrupt Viper wall that seals the left side. So Nonverbal just need to be proactive, need to be ready. Corrupt's been in the spot before, and just the jump peek gets good information. One's at the front door. So if Nonverbal swing, they got to be ready for the forces of Prosperity. A shock bolt force some movement out of Nonverbal. And now that the smoke's clear on rafters, a lot more angles that Nonverbal have to watch over. But this is just sheriffs anyway from Prosperity. It's just doing what they can, throwing out the bullets at the wall, see what sticks, see what bodies fall, but pretty much a done round.
Yeah, just try and go down to the spike here. You have a save off Vantic to make sure that that op gets carried over. And okay, they do get a little value out of it. But the hunt comes through yet again. Yuki just gonna dive on in. Oh, what the? There's no time for that. Regardless, though, for Prosperity, it was a bit unfortunate. The speed being picked up by Nonverbal that we see has been beyond helpful. And you can even see, right, they kind of lurked their way in towards the A site, managed to pop onto it, so they are exploring different parts of the map and having the calling really be refreshed for Corrupt. On the flip side, I'm looking at Yuki. They have their ultimate here. How are they going to call it? There's no KJ lockdown, at least not for the foreseeable next couple rounds, so are we going to be holding on to it? Are we going to try to play against it? Pyro has theirs, so your lockdown is in jeopardy at any moment. It's that sort of rock, paper, scissors vibe of Sova, KJ, and sometimes KO. That was more towards Ascent, though.
A good read on Nonverbal, liking to take that high ground position, using the Teho drones from Scary Shark to limit those offensive options, and now playing just dodging. Playing chicken with the Hunter's Fury. Nonverbal have good map space. And with this deep lurk from Tim, could even get a good cutoff on Prosperity, depending on what angle Manny decides to take. And we'll force that Clove back into cover. With this Viper's wall in place, they could bring that up and really try to stagger Prosperity, even limit the sightlines.
Great pinch mid to A, and now it's going to force Prosperity to really rethink. It's something that I wanted to see earlier out of them, was the fact that you were able to kind of take these fights. Okay, Vantic, is it going to bring it back? No, fortunately not. But what I was saying was you can explore into mid. It's something that I discussed. It's like, you know, we see it a lot in tier 2, sometimes in tier 3 tournaments as well, where, you know, you can't really find much value on a site, so let's try and explore into a split. And now Prosperity's slow sort of vacuum that they've been creating on the A and B site when they go for a retake doesn't really work, because what they've been trying to do is control all the extremities, but you're fighting into an extremity. Because when Tim goes out in there, Tim, I believe, was there with another player. Not exactly sure who. We'll find out on the replay. Memory is fading me, but at this point, it's probably going to even fade on the Prosperity side, considering that they need a change of pace. The vacuum isn't working. On the flip side, Nonverbal, they're probably going to continue to try and keep this speed at top levels, not slow down at all. There's no reason to.
Yeah, and to be able to just humble Magic, or just this backline of the defense, it's been huge for Nonverbal ever since their timeout. They've been on a 3-win streak, and I'm used to seeing Corrupt alive so late because this is just such a survivable anchor that helps them still have a round at the end. And now to be able to take high ground positions away from Prosperity, saw at the end, Nonverbal really altering their positions in the late parts of the round to give themselves different angles to strike at Prosperity. And it's been a lot of A-site hits, so are Prosperity going to want to stack more people? And how aggressive do they want to be off the rip?
Considering it's an eco, I think they're going to be extremely aggro at the start and then potentially change some stuff up. I like that they're showing force and allowing Nora to be set up here.
Oh, the immediate ping and execution on Scary Shark. Great job by Pyro to give them such valuable information, forcing out the dashes from Magic. Kumi's on the hunt, and he needed a clean round from Nonverbal, especially with how rich they are to keep this op too. See if Manny can do at least some economical damage, and we'll sneak up onto Blast, but Nonverbal setting themselves up for a good lead.
Of course, I mean, you can't really retake here, especially now that Manny's gone, and Vantic for that matter. But I guess they were looking for economic damage. They don't find it.
Show me where to go.
This is the question, right? What are they cooking up on this round? Round number 10. I'm looking at it. We started to see some elements of it, I think, towards mid, having Manny set up towards mid to prevent Blast from lurking up, or to have those mid lurks really become an effective part of the Nonverbal game plan. I'd like to see more of that just to dissuade them. Set up this time, not in kitchen. They're playing towards the A site and they're setting up for mid, allowing Yuki to play in kitchen.
This early pit from Prosperity, they're hoping to funnel Nonverbal into this op of Magic. Sitting above B. Scary Shark on the low ground. At least running the two controllers is giving Nonverbal some chances to deny some of these sight lines. And Nonverbal usually don't go anywhere without some kind of recon or some kind of owl drone from Pyro to give them an inkling on what's going on.
But the op is back on this angle. Ooh, Pyro now the one to take it down, and it's traded. So now they know where the op is. It's not going to be repositioned far, and they have to start exploring in other areas. But that A control, that mid control, and the A control are still there for Prosperity, and that's the key. Prosperity to keep a level head.
You can sense that Magic is not as comfortable without Scary Shark there and just playing all the way back towards Snowman instead of posturing forward. You don't want to be in that one and done spot. Want to be able to fall
30
back.
seconds left.
If there is a lot of aggression from Nonverbal, one step at a time, and it was because of that pivot from Magic. They were even in that position, and just Yuki crumbling under the pressure. An opening for Corrupt to find an angle behind this jet, and Magic is gonna go under it and try and hide, and surprise Corrupt with the pistol, and an important shutdown for Magic.
Now this ultimate's gonna flush them out, as well as the fact that towards mid, it created a lot of pressure. Now the vacuum needs to be filled.
Tim was just really going for it, feeling like they couldn't escape from the lockdown. Prosperity now really losing that advantage in a 1 versus 2, and it's Magic with the op, and Nonverbal fully take over.
What an amazing wraparound from Blast, as well as just the way that they played it towards mid. Blast broke the KJ turret mid, allowing Corrupt to enter in. Obviously, it was a bit unfortunate that we saw Magic with just a nice little couple of clicks of the classic free weapon, managed to take down that player, but still, right, that's super valuable to discuss in terms of like the mid play and the counter play between these teams is starting to develop. And yes, we got it to half. The smoke runs out. You don't expect Blast to be out towards mid, but that's the brilliance of it. That's the best part of Blast being able to wrap around.
Oh, the 3 stack from Prosperity to run it down on mostly a save, bunch of shares, but an important Vandal that still rings true for Magic. But a weapon out of reach still from Prosperity, who can only just benefit by watching Nonverbal on the approach. Drone is going to see the jet on the right side. As Prosperity just wait in the wings and hope to get some lucky shots if they can.
Now, I mean, you have 3 players stacked up on A. Spike is already far down. They haven't committed anything just yet, but because they have such a far push up here, you're expecting Nonverbal to end. They want to find a pick before they do that. There's no recourse otherwise.
Oh, they got a ping on Kumi, I believe, and somebody on the low ground, and good punish. Catch the jet before they could dash away. This is kind of, well, it seemed winnable for Prosperity. If only they could actually upgrade any of these weapons. They got 2 kills and no ways to upgrade. But look at this walk up from Nonverbal. Try and cut off and access this backline of Prosperity to get the pit from Corrupt in their face. And Scary Shark could have a good catch from above.
She knows. She's got to know, right? You have the Armageddon as well, and waiting for the players to wrap around all together. It's got to come through here.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't just use the Armageddon to just really rain it down on the pit and flush them out of these positions and just hope to surround it. Working with Yuki in tandem, who's decayed down to just a crumb of health, hoping to hunt down this Viper, and it just does not work out in Prosperity's favor.
I'm assuming Prosperity wanting to save these ultimates, I think, for the next round, to have a really beefy round 12 and 5-7, but it's like, you see the Viper's pit go down, and Nora is just kind of there in that position. I mean, she knows it's a meme, but it's also like, no, real. Like, Nora can spot that out. Just in that decision making on whether to pop that ultimate, or it was Yuki calling for it just to hold off until the rest of the team kind of got there together. Timing's unfortunate. Plays looking really good right now. Nonverbal has gone on a streak similar to Trust and Plug, and making my prediction look rather worrisome and really bolstering Nonverbal fan base.
Last round of the half, too, with an 2 offensive ops. Are we serious? Pyro and Kumi on different sides, too.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. I love it. I mean, if one works pretty well, 2 is going to work even better. And for Nonverbal, honestly, with how they've been playing, if they want to get active with it, they can. Pyro also just swapped. They had so much extra funds in the bank that they were like, all right, we could just pick whichever one we want. Ah, yes, this day of the week, I'm going on my Bentley. What? Like, that's awesome. That's really funny.
Formation from Prosperity. The Tejo drone just used, and Yuki still having a recon and an owl drone. Now needing to get a bit closer. Sofa's not in reach yet, so Nonverbal gonna work this window of opportunity. Armageddon from Prosperity's side to just slow down Nonverbal's approach. And as soon as that's gone, Nonverbal, it's off to the races. Take full control of the site, but Magic is still lurking around. Corrupt has had 3, and I mean, Magic was just looking for targets and really found none. It's up to Scary Shark to pull off a 1v2 with the Spike playing on the other side. Scary Shark to clutch it for the squad. Last round of the half.
Pulling up. They don't have too much utility.
Yeah, Scary Shark just having to clear one step at a time and walking right into Blast. An 8-4 half and off of a win streak. This is quite a statement for a team that is, quote, nonverbal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The statement isn't a verbal one. It's one on the server. with them winning 7 rounds in a row non-stop here. Prosperity's timeout did not necessarily help them, and more than that, Nonverbal's looking really good. I mean, I even favored having that Clove comp as well. It allows Tim to get way more active. And in this moment, the utility I was really focusing on is the fact that there's no like info utility for Nora, Scary Shark. She was just out in the water. And I mean, you'd assume that, you know, a shark in the water is deadly, but when you're surrounded by schools and pools of fishes and players, and honestly vicious players, then it comes through here. I don't think Nonverbal's vicious. No, they are very cold, calculated, and silent.
I'll have a silent lurk from Manny over at A just to see if Nonverbal are going to walk up. That's a good angle to hold. Prosperity going to owl drone through, and they have a close encounter with Corrupt, who's just going to play on the other side of the box, hoping to get a surprise on anyone wrapping around yellow. And Corrupt has to fight for this Charles position, maybe in tandem with the KJ of Blast. A good first start from Corrupt, but eventually gets overwhelmed, and no assistance from Blast, maybe even cut off from the Viper wall. So Orbs, and now some time for Prosperity to figure out what's next.
Taken out.
Ooh, what's next is Prosperity losing one of their Sentinels down, putting to 3v3, and Magic goes as well. So now they have to rush towards B, and it feels kind of like cooked a little.
Enemy remaining.
Prosperity kind of hesitated. They had that first pick on B and decided to retreat, and then they had to re-clear, and that let Blast take that yellow box position. And oh, the timing!
Oh man, it's thin.
Now there's too much for Prosperity to have to carve back through.
Overwhelmed Prosperity. They are not living up to the name, unfortunately, and not prospering. It seems like Nonverbal doing all of the damage, and it really shows that, like, the inconsistent, not even inconsistencies, but like the moments of brilliance that I saw yesterday are just not here. And a lot of it just seems like indecisiveness, which is super unfortunate out of the Prosperity roster, because they've been around for such a long time. It used to be known as Dexterity back in the day, and it's been picked up by Prosperity coming out of Premier. So there's a lot riding on this team, but unfortunately, Nonverbal seems to just be doing such a good job. It's actually quite funny. Both Nonverbal and Prosperity both had like former rosters as a core. So it's a core v core, as well as the 2 game changers head to head.
Oh, there's the whole core of Prosperity trying to walk up the kitchen. And as soon as that's called, Nonverbal take angles, and even a shot through the window. Kumi just different like that. Prosperity are kind of trapped now in a place where they were trying to surprise Nonverbal and go for a big play. And these are two still teams that are very surprising in their own right. Both coming from Premier in some type of way. Nonverbal through relegation, bit of a scrap with the pistols taking fun angles. The 2 teams that are hoping to really prove themselves against the toughest of tier 2 competition.
Yeah. And for, like we said, for Nonverbal, right, this is, I want to mention their map pick, so just to give a little bit of like edge to them, but not this much of an edge. It has been a non-stop win streak. If you count the previous map, the previous half as well. Already starting to get ahead of myself here, but if you count the previous round, at this point, like, you've got so much surmounting on you guys, and this needs to be the break. It's the 3rd round of the half, meaning it's a buy-up here for Prosperity on the attacking side. They're going for a bit of a default. They have the standard B wall for control and a potential lurk up, as well as a stack towards A. Let them rumble.
Yeah, Prosperity missing out on the pistol is just momentum, more wind in the sails of Nonverbal.
Right here.
And they know that they're so confident that they could take this map. And I mean, the gap in the score says enough, with Pyro, Kumi, and everyone walking up aggressively, and Outlaw to watch over the site. Nonverbal are secure on the right side, but it's the left side that we got to worry about. Can Corrupt hang with this push from Prosperity?
I hope so. Right? They have, I mean, they do also have the KJ set up there, so I'm a little concerned, but not that much. Magic on the other end of it, though, waiting for the push out. And they get it.
All that could be what brings the spike over on that side, but Prosperity don't want to also hesitate. They have yellow box control, and they feel confident about what their setup could be, especially with their Viper wall. If they have the right fuel, they could create a really safe plant position depending on if they think Nonverbal will swing on them or not.
Again, it's that indecisiveness. I wish they had gone a little faster if they did want to go towards B. It's a matter of sticking and committing. And Corrupt knows that, as well as the rest of Nonverbal.
Just barely having enough fuel to have a safe plan. At least you have Magic. Lands a big double kill to suppress the defense for just long enough, but that was real scary for whoever who was planting.
And here we are, finally. Got ourselves out. Oh, it's a whole lot of rounds. I'm just like kind of melancholy here, but for Nonverbal, it's looking really good. They have buy-ups as well. Kumi on the operator. On the flip side, you did lose a couple players. Vantic unable to buy up a lot. You're going full. Okay, no, they do buy up for the team as well, so they do have guns to go for it. Just sacrifice on some of that utility for Manny, it seems. A little rough, but still. They're now just going to be fully rushing in towards the A side off this ultimate.
Okay, looking for pings. Nothing yet. Nonverbal are going to hold their ground. They even have a smoke to just hide into. Give the illusion that they're not really there. And Prosperity, and also Nonverbal have to be aware of any fakes. I mean, Prosperity just won a round off of getting a first blood at A and still planting at B. So Nonverbal just have to hold their positions.
The mind games continue. Vantic didn't get spotted by that either, so this insert can be proven useful. Also, the fact that they're again doing this where they're slowly defaulting and sending a lot of noise out B. They need to be wary of B, so they're trying to draw rotates out and then hit towards A with some potential utility here, but thankfully Nonverbal hold their ground.
Not a lot of space for Tim to work with, but at least up top is Pyro and the rest of Nonverbal rotating in. Prosperity have committed enough util that Nonverbal feel like they have a good read. Tim ready for the cutoff and just barely dodging these mollies from the Viper. Surprises Prosperity, creates chaos. And it's the defense that's starting to falter with the spike still in hand from Prosperity, recovering it, getting a plant. This will be safe unless Corrupt can wrap around, and Vantic is going to be cut off. Corrupt using their own smoke to just really surprise this team. Prosperity now, one objective done. Vantic spots Corrupt, 1v1. Big win from Vantic. Just leaves Kumi with the op. And at 50 creds, I'm surprised that Nonverbal still want to commit to this. Maybe not just keep the op. Oh.
The timing.
Okay. Different weapon. Just sailing across. Just shoot me, bro. Type of swing.
That is definitely the correct way of putting it. You're just going down on the rope and just like, where are we going? Where are we? Yeah. Well, I thought they would save the op there. It is, you are going 6-10. The op is now, you know, such a huge piece of utility. I mean, you can make the argument of, you know, Kumi's not going to be able to be set up for the operator because there's no weaponry, but even then it's still like, okay, it's an op that you can hold, catch someone off guard. And just as well, it's a story of timings, and Prosperity seems to be surprisingly finding them. I was worried about their, you know, commitments and commitment issues of are we pushing in places or not, but it seems like at the end of the day, whether they, you know, commit fast or not, they are going to be landing what they need to.
Ouch. 1 HP in a dream for Magic, by the way, on the Outlaw. Nonverbal just that close to a big shutdown. But on this mostly Sheriff and Scout buy from Nonverbal. They're just doing what they can to play together. And Prosperity have a real chance to start closing the gap in the score, not letting Nonverbal get away with too much despite Nonverbal having the pistol.
Good denial of the plants. They've grouped up for the retake. There's a wall denying them, though. So it's not completely in favor of Prosperity, but considering that the weapons advantage is there, and we're starting to see some of that stall yet again that we've been seeing out of Nonverbal, and Prosperity not really dedicating much yet, creates that little bit of chaos and that little indecision timing that Nonverbal could capitalize off of. Unfortunately, they can't capitalize on it right now considering they do not have the weapons, so I'm still giving it to Prosperity here, but I digress. I mean, they're just going to be able to get this plant down. It should be pretty easy.
Yeah, Pyro does have a Hunter's Fury, and this is definitely winnable. 13 seconds. Prosperity took all of 40 seconds to get to the side. They play it in time. Nonverbal have evened up the playing field. Haven't been able to find any upgrades. One rifle would be next to the spike. There's the Hunter's Fury investment. Nonverbal definitely think this is winnable. And a tag on Manny is huge. All depends if Kumi can shake things up with an outlaw, or I guess a sheriff up close. Doesn't work out. Pyro's going crazy this round. The full defuse is about to go through, and Yuki slaps that in the face at the last second. A clutch from Prosperity comes out.
I'm happy they didn't make me a liar in terms of it's winnable. It's like it's Prosperity winning. But I am also happy they didn't make me a liar in the fact that they're like being slightly indecisive and pushing in is really causing them to kind of falter in some rounds. And I'm so happy that we have a timeout here because I feel like that's what it's going to address. Because the reads have been good. Like Yuki has had good reads. I want to be totally clear that I'm not here to continue ragging on them. But like at the same time, I think it's just the fact that you don't need to overthink it as much in this moment. Like Nonverbal, right? Yes, they have some rounds up. They have some good players. It's going to be another rifle round. But some of these changes need to come through. And for Prosperity, they have been winning. They've gotten a win streak of their own. It's an attack-sided map, all of it's going for there. On the flip side, this timeout I do want to mention, will help Nonverbal a little bit. They'll give them some time to cool off, talk with their team all together, and potentially come up with better retake strategies. Because that retake was just as winnable for the side of Nonverbal, right? It was so close, down to that 1v1, and it's been like that for the past 3 rounds where it goes down to the wire, and it's just a matter of finding where to snip it.
Kumi's just having a tough game and feels a lot of pressure to be the big playmaker as the duelist of the team, and it's going for these solo Waka plays that, well, it's kind of going in blind. It'd be different if you'd go for a big play when you know exactly the positions that Prosperity are holding, but unfortunately, Kumi going down early is not helping. Magic first blood off the knives being out. Nonverbal getting aggressive early gets punished. Now Prosperity can take this one step at a time, and also Pyro manages to escape.
It had a dodge. Run away, run away. And I'm liking this out of Nonverbal. Like I said, this timeout's really going to help them as well on their retakes.
Hey, the Armageddon goes out from Scary Shark. Needs space to be taken from Prosperity, and they're just looking for frags, but the objective is being forgotten about. Maybe we could just make this a little fun death match. Vantic will collect eventually. There's just one target left. Who cares about the spike at this point? This Prosperity are ramping up. They're scaling up. Could be faster. Now it's a 1v1, and it's like, okay, now we have to start thinking about the plan. This is kind of sketchy.
I was about to say, I didn't know they made a new TDM map. W Riot. Yo, giving challengers announcements? That's awesome. But on a real note, yeah, it kind of devolved into just pure chaos. And I can start to see what Prosperity is going for. It's like, all right, let's be decisive. Let's get it. But guys, I meant more like your calling was decisive. If you're going to fake and rotate, that's all good. Speaking of decisiveness, Vantic's just going to go for it. The plant's going to come through. I mean, you have the ult here. It's going to lock it down, but there's a lockdown on the other end of it.
All right, ult for ult.
One for one.
This pit will even last. Vantic has to get out. A couple of seconds to do so, allowing Blast to get in and actually hunt down this kill. And it's the high ground for Blast, dropping down Molly. Delay for delay. Some damage from Vantic, but a headshot that rings true. Prosperity with the round.
It just consistently feels like bomb diffusing simulator, and not in the sense of like you're trying to defuse the spike, but literally which wire needs to be cut, because it's come down to it so often. And now Nonverbal, they're going to be on an eco of their own. It should be a tightened up scoreline. Both teams feeling a lot more confident on those attack sides. Even then, at the end of it, it still goes down to the last single players in digits. I expect the Blaze storm off Kumi. I expect a lot in terms of this walk up out of mid to really pressure Prosperity, but we're going to try and use it to get some crucial picks, maybe pick up some guns.
It's a lot of flank watch from Prosperity. Giving up so much map control to non-verbal. 4-round win streak for this offense, so can't hate it if it's winning. Now with a deep recon, walls come up. Prosperity have to dodge all the Sentinel util and find, is it gonna be rafters? Someone in the tower, someone in the back site. And Prosperity, they guess right, and it's Corrupt still hanging around, not able to use the pit. Non-verbal have to retake with not the best weaponry, so just good protocols overall from Prosperity.
Yeah, it seems like they cleaned up a lot on the second half for themselves. Not gonna invest that ultimate in. There's no point. Kumi needs to be the difference maker in this, and realistically, with 5 players stacked up, I doubt it. The big concern is that because you have 5 players stacked up, you now have to worry about all of that economy falling against your favor. And considering that Prosperity is going to be 1 round away from getting themselves, okay, that was a kerfuffle, but getting themselves into a tied game is what I wanted to say there. I think I'd be very concerned if I was non-verbal.
I would be too. This was an 8-4 lead for non-verbal at the half, and a well-timed timeout to figure this out, because this is a 5-round win streak from Prosperity, now 1 round away from tying things up. And then you have Prosperity who can lead with a Hunter's Fury, and Yuki has been really good with that. So it's gonna be tough to see how non-verbal are gonna defend against that, if they're just gonna try and hide around some corners and go for some surprises, or do they just want to play safe against this Hunter's Fury?
I think honestly, just keeping themselves also alive for some of these retakes really does matter. Like if we look back at exactly this replay, it's just a matter of like the correct hold in terms of reads on Yuki of where to hold that Pyro more specifically, to where to hold that. So it comes down to a lot of those like really tense moments. Because like I said, non-verbal's getting to the 1v1s. They just aren't really making the snap judgments on the micro to really ensure that they can get the defuses. Right now, though, you do have something like Corrupt's ultimate. I would like to see that almost used as a retake buffer, because their retakes have been pretty okay, and it's come down to the wire. If you keep that player alive, you maybe pop it, or maybe even use it early towards the B site if you're going to get rushed. All of those things are viable options for Corrupt here, and for the side of non-verbal to get their 11th round.
Recon's exchange. Now Magic has to take a step back. You just never know if Kumi is going to have a Vandal or an Op, and who's going to be locking you down as soon as you're pinged like that. Prosperity needing a physical reset at that point, just going to stay put while Prosperity makes some headway towards B. And usually there to disrupt that is Corrupt, where I'm surprised they may not just want to pop an early pit just to cut off this angle, and maybe at an inkling that there could be someone nearby, that could be the trigger being pulled, but we'll see.
We'll see. I think they're just waiting, like if they're going to get rushed to pop it or for the retake, right? It's one or the other. Because you can funnel them towards the A stack. You have a good amount of mid control. Corrupt at this point, having no audio and clearing out a chunk of that B pressure, knows, okay, they're most likely hitting towards A, calling for that deeper hold. And now with this exec starting, the worst fears have been confirmed.
Oh, Pyro getting tagged there is really unfortunate. Having full util, can just play off the recon, the owl drone.
30 seconds left.
And to just set Kumi up for success, because they have not revealed their position at the top of that tower. There's finally that pit from Corrupt, but it is leaving quite a gap for Vantic to get around to. And Prosperity have brought the spike over to that side. 12 seconds. Non-verbal could just be on prevention duty, and Blast and Corrupt on the high ground are causing a lot of issues. Corrupt dropping down, playing in tandem with the Sentinel, and non-verbal, just the pit play is huge. Corrupt chose that timing perfectly.
Yeah, yes, just waiting out for it, because you pop it there early without info becomes rather tumult. Like, you know they're going to try and end towards A, they're going to try and fight that, but them being dissuaded off of A, allowing Prosperity to make that mistake within the timeout, post-timeout round, really helps for them. And now, non-verbal has finally picked up a round within the first 5. I mean, it's been 5 in a row for Prosperity. They really tightened the gap. Now I'm looking towards the not dead yet on Tim, as well as the buy-ups that we've seen. Lost, utilizing some of that utility, Corrupt spamming all of theirs. On the flip side, it is light shields and Magic with an attack op. posted up towards A.
And Tim can be aggressive here with the Clove ult, so it's gonna... You're hoping that this Clove is the one to mark the op and to get a second chance to fight against it. But Prosperity not getting the information, not getting any early peeks, Nonverbal playing as safe as they can, because it's Prosperity that takes so much time in a round to give themselves the best win possible. And there's the peek from Pyro spotting that up.
I don't think Pyro wants to peek that again. And look at this A setup as well. You have two players playing in such sort of like ratty angles, waiting for good timings. Oh, good catch on that for Magic, allowing them to stay in this corner. Pyro, not fully aware of this position, causes him to fall.
And that's the opening Prosperity wanted. But Kumi on this top power position can't just cower and try to surprise. Doesn't do much.
One enemy remaining.
Nonverbal are gonna depend on Tim to get into a safe spot. They just can't because there was just enemies everywhere. This is Prosperity getting back into this game. 3 versus 1 on the post plant. Get them within 1 of Nonverbal. And this first map's going the distance.
And with all this util setup, has to be broken, gives out info, and he can't break it all. Corrupt doesn't have any of that utility as well. But thankfully, the smokes still come through. Clove being instrumental, but not finding much. And now, I mean, this gives us double digits for both sides. Nonverbal was only able to pick up 1 round. Prosperity still looking pretty clean. A little bit better on their decision-making in terms of just the way that they pop out, and was a rifle round for both teams. Yes, it was a little broken on the Prosperity side, but because they managed to sort of rush in on that attack side off of the attack side off, to be frank, it really helped them out. Now, Nonverbal gonna buy up, hoping to at least get match point here, because if they don't, it's gonna be 11 eco and match point, and then it is most likely 12-11. You don't want that to happen here.
Nonverbal 1 away from the Hunter's Fury, but Nonverbal haven't really wanted to risk walking up and grabbing that orb until now. And Pyro's gonna get the Hunter's Fury, so that investment pays off. You're already hearing shots from Prosperity, so
You should run.
maybe looking for more information off the Owl drone, and it's the lockdown that is gonna push Nonverbal outside of the site as Pyro looks to dismantle the lockdown, or at least the forces behind it, and almost gets detained there. Prosperity have a chance to plant.
I think they assumed it was on lower instead of upper, but they creeped up and surprised the side of Nonverbal. Now the plant's gonna go down. You have an attack off to hold it, as well as a whole just bunch of utility to throw at it.
Oh, wait a minute. This retake has some bite to it. Nonverbal just trying to get sightlines. And Prosperity want to watch over their spike. Now they're getting smoked off. They have to reposition, and Kumi just watches it all happen. Great coordination from Nonverbal. They'll go to match point.
That is a very, I mean, it's a very interesting plant because you have op for sightlines, so I almost expected them with the security of the lockdown to plant somewhere a bit more open, but it was planted behind 410, so you can't really get a good op sightline on it, which kind of surprised me. That decision making in the moment really confuses me. We're actually going to be like seeing this in the replay. Yes, they get the really good entries, and sure, they find some solid timings post play, as well as Nonverbal just doing a really good job fighting out against their opponents and clearing out all of the wacky corners that Icebox has and provides. But still, now match point attained for Nonverbal. It's their map pick. They're looking to end it out here so they can go take a break, relax, and prepare themselves for the next map.
If Nonverbal can close it out, Prosperity just been hitting this A site so much. Off a Guardian, off Nice being out. There's a ping on that sofa. The Hunter's Fury to try to drown him out. And Magic has the target. Doesn't let Pyro slip away. There's still one at the back, and Prosperity know it. Just has to pick their angle properly. You never know if someone could just swing around the corner. Kumi's gonna allow this plant to happen, hoping... Oh, it actually gets a surprise. And Nonverbal, the retake behind Kumi. And Blast gets good punish. The spike is still planted, but not as many people to defend it now. And the lockdown is going to make sure Prosperity are nowhere near. This could get the spike to half. Nonverbal feels safe enough.
Last player standing.
This wraparound from Vantic was kind of gross. Blast looking for the ace, and the defuse will go all the way through with the ace and the win for non-verbal off of the lockdown. A beautiful play from Blast at the end.
Just honestly, good coordination out of them. The timeout really helped them re-coordinate themselves. It did take a while for them to get there, but it came through. Non-verbal proving to them, proving to everyone here, and more specifically to me, biased caster on desk, that, hey, you know, this is a solid team. I think I said it felt very coin flippy, like 50-50 on who was going to win, but it shows that at the end of the day, they are solid on their side. And even more so, I really was impressed by the way they not only utilized Clove, but they changed up their strategy on the defensive side. We always joke that it seems like retake simulator towards the A side of the map on Icebox. And for a lot of times it is, but they also really need to worry, especially in this current meta and compositions, of a lot of that spam utility, that cringe post plant that people meme about online, and that I always have as a bane of my existence when I run it down in ranked. But unlike me running it down in ranked, these guys did a really good job of coordinating their rundowns when they decided to fight out, which is why, you know, I gotta you know, bite my tongue and bide my time here.
Yeah, not even over yet. Yeah, that first map goes to non-verbal. You gotta applaud the resilience though from Prosperity to almost tie things up and to have a flawless round to really get back into the game. They need to close out their matches though. Prosperity have gone to a game 3 on every match except this one. We'll see if the trend continues after this break.
Just breathing. I think that a lot of people don't remember to just take deep breaths during the clutch, and also just like trusting your gut. Multiple times that I've coached players, it seems like they think about 100 different things and then can't come to a decision instead of just like instantly trusting their gut.
I try to just like be prepared, and I feel like that's reassuring towards myself to handle pressure and deal with any of like the nerves or anything. Is like the more I feel in control, the more I feel prepared with going to a scenario or a matchup, the less that feels is like pressing to me, like inside of me. There's not as much like nervousness or pressure on it because I feel ready for what's to come, and I feel confident in what I have prepared, like looked at and game planned or whatever it may be. So for me, I think it's definitely like preparation and doing a lot of like prep work, whether that's VOD or like my own game plans or whatever it might be when it comes to practice and any ritual that I have before, especially if it's just like warming up. Even warming up helps to feel very prepared with myself and my performance, and I think that's helped a lot with easing off pressure.
I feel like the best way to deal with the pressure is just like to accept that it is there. I don't believe that people cannot feel pressure unless they actually don't really care about what they're doing. Competition should have pressure, right? Otherwise it's not even that much fun. That's where the fun part of competition is, you feeling that thrill of, you know, playing something that's worth it.
Maybe I'll feel like the nerves, like of the excitement of the match before. It really just depends on the match. It's just like having like a system and a team that you can trust. So no matter what, no matter who's playing bad or who's playing good, it's something you can hold on to and be consistent with. Even then, by like trusting your system, trusting your teammates, you know, that'll open up a lot more actual kill potentials than, you know, playing like you're Lionel Messi. Not everyone is Kane Zero on the ISO, you know.
What I used to do was I would give myself at least piss around to kind of get my nerves out. So even if I whiff or don't do what I was supposed to do, I would kind of take it easy and be okay with, you know, messing up or being a little bit nervous. But I don't really get nervous too much anymore. So because after piss around, I just completely forget about being in a match, and I just play like it is in practice and kind of just let things flow.